In today's video, I put together the best / most up-to-date tier list for Volleyball Legends that includes KAZANA along with TAICHOU, as well as having all the updated names if you're curious about that or care. Also, please ignore all the watermarks on the images. I literally have to do that, and while I was recording this, they buffed KAZANA, and honestly, they might play around with this style again. So if they do tweak it or something like that, after I post this video, I will come back and in the comments update his positioning or any other styles that gets tweaked positioning. Anyways, be sure to subscribe and like the video, and let's get right into it. All right, we are in here on the tier list. As you can see, I updated all of the names. I took all new screenshots of every single one of their names, not only to show you guys all the new names of all the new styles, but to also see if there were any stat changes here where I had to change anything. And it seems like mostly all they did was change the names. They didn't really change the stats around, but here it is for the most part, though, since they didn't change anything, it's all going into the exact same spots as they were before, because the meta in that at least the lowest level hasn't really changed. Most players, when they're still using these sort of styles, are just jumping and spiking the ball. So primarily with like greens, blues, and reds, I'm kind of just prioritizing jump and spike and maybe a bit of serve and speed, but mostly just jump and spike because that's what everybody's doing. And I think Tinoko, he does it. And also I'm calling them by their prior names because there's no way I'm going to try to say their new names yet, because everybody remembers how bad I butchered TAICHOU. I butchered his name so bad and people were dragging me for it for days. So I'm gonna wait until I see some other people say some of these names so I know how to say them. So for now, that's still Nichinoi. I think he's the worst of the blues. Can't serve, can't spike, can't really jump, can't really do shit. He's definitely the worst blue. I think Ojiri, Iwazini, and Tsukishiwa are probably really close to each other. I think these three styles are very close when you look at their jump and spike. I think it's kind of overpowered that this guy has really good jump, mid spike, and then pretty good set. So he can kind of set, jump, or block. He also has a bit of block. And then Iwazini, I think he's probably the best of the reds. Actually, I'm going to flip Iwazini and Ojiri, honestly, because I think he can jump, spike, and serve. So I think he can do it a little better than Iwazini can. Now, for the rest of the reds, I have Yamamute, obviously on C tier as well. He can't really do shit. I mean, he can do shit. He can jump and spike, but, you know, I think there's better legendary spikers than him. Next, I have Kosumi. Mostly he's in the C tier and not a tier above because Yabu exists, and I think Yabu is just a bit better version of what Kosumi is, and that's the same reason why I have Segafura down here as well. Is Yabu, I think, is just a bit better than these two. Out of like the reds, I think he's kind of the best like setter / like defender or libero. And then the reason why I have Yomute in here, despite being at least solid spikers, because I think there's other spikers that, again, just do it a little better than him, like Kuze. I think he's just mini Bokuto. He's like the Bokuto until you get Bokuto, pretty much. I think he's the best legendary or below. And then I have Zamina and Ushishima. And in case I didn't already mention it, if they're farther to the left, I think they're better. And if they're farther to the right, I think they're worse. So it's going from left to right pretty much. But if they're on the same tier, generally, I think the gap between them is very minimal. But now that we've gotten through all of the B, C, D's, and E's, it's now onto the godlies and above, or kind of the ones that people care about a lot. So I'm gonna start actually breaking it down a little more. And for the first one, or I guess last one in its place, is Hirakumi, the godly blocker. I really do feel like that he's the only godly blocker, so that does kind of add some value to him. I just think in this game that isn't super meta. Blocking isn't I bumped my mic. Blocking isn't super meta, so for that reason I have him actually at the back of the godlies. And the reason I have him at the back of the godlies is because he's like a worse Bokuto, because they just took Bokuto, like they just like flipped Bokuto and Hirakumi's jump and block, or not jump and block, but their block and spike. Like Bokuto has him on spike and he has Bokuto on block, but spike is just way more of an important mechanic. And for being the same tier, Bokuto is just way better, because I would much rather be able to spike than block, obviously. And on top of that, Oigawa's here, and Oigawa has a very close block to Hirakumi, but can also do a lot more. So for that reason, I also have Oigawa ahead of Hirakumi, because Oigawa, again, can just do a lot more. He can also defend the backcourt. He can block almost just as well, and he can set. So, I mean, to me, it's no competition between these two. And then after that, I have Kageyama. I have Kageyama and Oigawa like literally dead even. I have these like two. I think it's like Bokuto's better, and then these two are dead even, and then Hirakumi's the worst of the godlies. That's kind of how I have it. The reason why I have these two even is because I think their jump, serve, and set are negligible. They're like too close to each other to really like say one is better than the other. So when it comes to like the core stats you want in a setter, they're both about just as good. But Kageyama has the way better speed, and I think being a better backcourt defender is just more meta than being a slightly better blocker. Now into the tiers that people really care about, and I'll start breaking down why I feel the way I do at these points. Now, just so you know, if they're on A+, I think they're tied. If they're on S, I think they're tied, and on S+, I think they're tied. So it's no longer like left to right. I think like if you're on the same tier, like it's like way too close to call. And that's why I'm breaking down the secrets into 3 different tiers. Because I think some of the secrets, I do think the game has done a generally pretty good job on balancing out the secrets. I think they've done a really good job on making the secrets mostly balanced outside of 2 of them, and that's obviously timeskip, Oigawa, and Kimura. We all know these 2 suck shit, so there's no really beating around the bush. That's why I have the A+ tier, is for them, because I don't think they quite crack S tier. I don't think they're quite as good as Taichou, timeskip Hinata, Sanju, timeskip Kageyama, the twins, or KAZANA. I think those styles are clearly better than these 2. And I'll tell you why. Timeskip Oigawa, most of the reason why is because his ability is solely attached to his serve. When he's not serving, he's just kind of a well-rounded, just average guy. And the problem is with serving is it's only like a super dangerous threat in 2v2s. Because 1, you are way more likely to score serves in 2v2s, and 2, because you get quicker rotations. Like it comes back to you for your serve just more often in 2v2s. Like if you're playing 6v6s, you're gonna get to serve like twice a game. So like at that point, you almost don't have an ability on timeskip Oigawa. Same with in 4s. Maybe in 3s, you can make an argument for timeskip Oigawa being pretty decent as well. But I think primarily this is almost solely a 2 style. And then after the Miya twins got their buff to their serve, I think it almost made timeskip Oigawa obsolete. Because you had timeskip Oigawa come out, he had a pretty good serve that kind of like was destroying people. Then he got nerfed, and the Miya twins got their serve rework, which kind of just made Oigawa obsolete almost in the meta, because there's just better versions of him now. So for that, I have timeskip Oigawa in A+, and not quite S tier. And Kimura, I think we all know why Kimura is. He's a Libero, so he's already filling a niche position. I'm barely even calling him bad with this. He's a Libero, and even when you talk about like super comp teams lining up someone at Libero, a lot of times you're just gonna line up a fast spiker because you get that bonus spike from the backcourt that Kimura can't give you. Like if you're lining up a Libero, you probably don't want to line Kimura up at the Libero. You'd rather timeskip Hinata because they have pretty comparable speed, but then can also give you that added spiking from the backcourt bonus that, again, Kimura can't give you. But Kimura does have some really good stats, and he probably has really good stats because the devs knew that he was, you know, like not like his ability wasn't that great. I mean, he has max bump, max dive, max set, near max serve, near max jump, max speed. Like he's literally only bad in spike. But I think when you compare it to all the other secrets that have either pretty good abilities or are good spikers, I think Kimura just doesn't really hold up. And I think it's always going to be difficult to make Kimura a viable character just because of the nature of his character being solely a Libero. Next, we are on to the S tiers. And just reiterating, I think all of these S tiers are about even. I think they're all, you can make an argument for all of them being good at one thing over another or one mode over another. And at first we have timeskip Kageyama and Taichou, which obviously, I think these are 2 setters that are both really good setters. timeskip Kageyama used to be in the only one in S+ tier, but the reason why I had him being the only one in S+ tier is because he was effectively the only setter in the game. So obviously, he had to be better than everyone else because there was no competition for his position. But now there is a bit of competition for his position. I think that just innately brings him down a little bit on the same tier with Taichou, but he's still an incredible setter. He's still like, he's either the best setter or the second best setter. It's like so close between these 2. For me, I just have them tied. I think they set differently, but not necessarily worse than each other. I think timeskip Kageyama is much easier to use than Taichou. So for that, maybe I might put timeskip Kageyama a little ahead on the tier list than Taichou because he is just very easy and brainless to use almost. So I guess I will keep him just a little bit ahead Taichou, but Taichou's obviously a really good setter as well, and maybe a bit better than timeskip Kageyama for 2s. And then the 2 right after them I have are the twins and Sanju. The twins obviously are crazy for 2s right now. They can literally do everything. Like when I'm showing the twins, this is just the setter twin, but oh, oopsies. Okay, there we go. This is just the setter twin, but you can pretty much imagine that the twins are a style that has max in every stat, but only half of them at a time, and you can swap once every 5 seconds. He is definitionally the best well-rounder in the game. You can set, you can spike, you can block, you can backcourt defend. You can literally do everything. And then on top of that, they gave him a serve, which made him just so good in 2s. It is so hard for lower level players to defend their serves, or really just anybody. Like there's almost nobody that I can't at least get a few serves through a game with the Miya twins. He's genuinely insane. And for me, I think it was part of him getting buffed that just made timeskip Oigawa worse, because now timeskip Oigawa wasn't the only one with a serve. He wasn't even the best one with a serve anymore. and is probably my personal favorite style in the game to use, because I just like being super flexible, especially since I solo queue a lot. I really just like the flexibility that the Miya twins gives me. And then obviously right after the Miya twins, we have Sanju. Sanju is still the best wing spiker in the game. I know he gets a lot of hate. Like I see all the jokes like, oh, nerf Sanju again, nerf Sanju again. Even despite all that, Sanju is still the best wing spiker in the game. When you just want someone to hit the ball better than anybody else can, Sanju is still by far better than anybody else. Like there's a reason why if you're ever watching like league play or something like that, you'll still see Sanus, bro. You'll still see Sanus at the wings because they're just so good at hitting. They're so good at hitting the backcourt, so good at hitting the crosses. And for me, I really like Sanu's presence in the game because it feels like as long as he's in the game, people always sort of have like a really solid permanent secret that they can get even if the limited ones go away. And you may be like, Cat, well, look at his set, his serve, his dive, his bump, his block, his speed. All of those are bad, but some of those are just completely irrelevant. You got to remember, the two most important things to a spiker is jump and spike, and Sanju does it better than anybody else. His ability is attached to his spike. I know it's attached to his tilt, but it's effectively attached to his spike, right? So the really weakest part about him is his speed, and that's, you know, good positioning can make up for a little bit worse speed, although I do know that speed is very important of a stat in this game. I do think if you are very smart with your positioning, you can kind of make up for his lack of speed, and his tilt sort of makes up for his serve as well, although he is kind of a weak at serving. And now for the two best, primarily the reason why I have these two at the S+ tier is because they are incredibly fast spikers. And incredibly fast spikers, especially for twos, are so hard to defend. I really don't have either of these placed above the other. As you can see, they have very identical stats when it comes to everything important. I mean, bump and dive, those don't fucking matter. It's really just speed, jump, serve, and spike. And as you can see, they're kind of neck and neck with all of them, although TAICHOU does have the better serve. So then it comes down to, do you want that, like, those are like really dangerous like glide sets that you can like proc Hinata's ability on with a spike, or do you want to have that much higher jump that KAZANA gives you? I think both of these styles are very good. Even if you never use his ability, he is still incredibly good just because he is now tied for the fastest spiker in the game, which is a lot of what makes timeskip Hinata a demon. So if you missed out on timeskip Hinata, KAZANA is, I mean, he's right there. I mean, he doesn't have that like really strong spike that you can get on like glides and stuff, but he has the better jump that you might be able to get some pretty good techs off with. Now, if I had to place KAZANA before he got buffed, he'd have been down here. I mean, but then after he got bumped, they gave him like better speed, better serve, they raised up his jump even more than it already was. So I definitely think he is now up here, and he's going to be just destroying 2v2s. He's very good. Now, I don't know if they're going to move him around anymore. They obviously might tweak his ability. Obviously, they tweaked timeskip Hinata forever until they found like a good spot to keep him at, because right now I'm scared a lot of people are going to use KAZANA just more as like a super fast spiker than rather play around his ability too much. And so I definitely think he could see some changes to his ability, and if there's any major changes that happens to KAZANA after this tier list comes out, I'll come back and I'll obviously update it. Thanks for watching, and see you.